Hey, 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 how's it going, guys? Happy Hump Day, Wednesday. It's been a long week, eh? Tomorrow's a day off. Feel like I need it. Feel like I need a bit of time off now. So fun tomorrow. Oh, well, I'll tell you tomorrow what we're doing tomorrow. I am excited though. I'm very excited. But today I'm going to talk to you guys about perimenopause and weight loss because it is something that people always ask me, obviously, because that's my specialty. Um, and I'm in a lot of groups, I'm in a lot of forums that talk about it. And oh God, guys, I love that people want to help each other. It is so nice. But people are not qualified. Some rando on Facebook is not qualified. And just because something's worked for her doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And so I'll give you like an update of what particular triggered me this morning. So I'm in this perimenopause group, and someone says something along the lines of, I've got really bad bloating through perimenopause. What can I do about it? Or something along those lines. So what do people say? Things like fucking charcoal. Hey, Michelle, let me know what your thing says. So people say things like charcoal or probiotics or, like really weird, like, oh, I took this random herb or I did this or and they don't even say I did. They just say blah, blah, blah. Okay, Michelle, I will take a little look shortly. But the issue is nobody in that thread, and there were like hundreds of comments, no one in that thread asked what was causing it. Not one person. And everyone's willing to give advice, but no one's willing to do the work to dig to understand. And as a coach and as a professional who works in perimenopause and weight loss, who is qualified to do so, it is really frustrating for me because this person might try, the probiotics, they might try the charcoal, they might try all these different things, but no one's asking what the problem is. It could literally be like she eats too quickly. So she's taking in a lot of air as she eats. Like that is a very well-known problem when it comes to not just perimenopause, generally, but maybe during perimenopause, hey babe, maybe during perimenopause, you're at that age where life is really, really busy. So I'm gonna take this watch off because I'm getting steps and it's annoying. So life is busy. So now I'm like scoffing at the desk. When I was in my 20s, it wasn't so bad. So I didn't need to like eat really, really quickly. So I could chew a little bit more slowly. I was taking my time a little bit. Now I need to be taking the kids here or, finishing my meeting there or got to rush before the next meeting. And I can't leave my desk because I've got this deadline. So we rush through food. So that is one of the reasons why this woman could have got bloated. But did anybody ask? No one asked in the group. They just give their woo-woo, mostly woo-woo, suggestions, which again, I'm happy if people want to help. But guys, like people are struggling. Perimenopause and weight gain is a real thing. And yes, there's a lot of shit out there saying, no, it's not. It's like well, it is. It actually is. Typically men say that. I don't know what's that. And men say, no, it's not a real thing. Not a real thing. So you need to understand that your perimenopause, let me just decline these people I want to join, that perimenopause will make things more difficult. It will make weight loss more difficult, but not necessarily because of the reasons that you think. It's not just an age thing. It's not just like, oh, well, I'm perimenopausal now, so shit's hit the fan. No, it doesn't have to be. Just because it could happen, doesn't mean it has to be that way, right? Just because you could gain weight doesn't mean you have to. We've got loads of clients that are perimenopausal or postmenopausal. We've got clients that do photo shoots. They look incredible. They look better than they did when they were in their 30s. So you need to understand what is going on with your body, not just generic, like, oh, here's some generic, this worked for me kind of situation, even though we've got completely different lifestyles. So, like, let's ask the question, guys. So I'm going to talk to you about the bloating situation because that has obviously been a trigger for me this morning. And maybe I'll sidetrack into different things depending on how long it takes me to finish my face. But if you've got any questions, then let me know and I will answer those for sure. So what can cause bloating during perimenopause / at any time in your life, right? Because just because you're perimenopause doesn't mean that your bloating now is suddenly different to someone who bloats in their 20s, right? It is the same physiological things that happen in your body to become bloated. So we've already spoken about one. You might be rushing your food. And when you rush your food, you take a lot of air in. And that air has to go somewhere. It doesn't just disappear with breath. It goes into your stomach, causing bloating. Another thing could be that maybe the foods that you're eating are high in processed carbs. Now, as we become perimenopausal, it is likely that you will become insulin resistant. And that is not a good thing. We don't want to be insulin resistant. We want to be insulin sensitive. Okay, so as we get older, our insulin sensitivity can decrease, which means you've got higher risk of diabetes. And once you've got diabetes and obesity, you've got a higher risk of all the other comorbidities, things like COPD, high cholesterol, even things like lower back pain, like all of these are comorbidities. And so you have a higher chance of all of these. And then, of course, things like osteoporosis, right? Your bone density will decrease as you age also, generally. So all of these can become problems. So if you are eating a lot of highly processed carbs, that is going to cause irritability in your gut. And again, this is not just for people who are perimenopausal. The insulin thing generally is, but again, you can get diabetes at any age. But in particular, your risk increases at that age. So if you eat a lot of processed carbs at any age, your gut might not be able to process it as well as something that is natural. It may have additives in, it may have artificial sweeteners, etc., and which means that you're probably going to be bloated. Your gut is not going to be able to process it as well, so there's going to be some irritability and some bloating. It can also cause GI issues, right? Got a bit of fluff on my face. GI issues, constipation. If you're constipated, you're probably going to be a little bit more bloated. You know why? Because there's shit in your gut. Literally, shit in your gut. And it doesn't just turn into a sausage as it comes out your butt, right? Like that stool has to be sat somewhere. And it's sat in your gut. And what happens when your gut is full? You bloat. You get like a big round belly. Same if you do on your period. How many of you guys experience bloating when you do on your period? It's very, very normal. And so, especially if your periods are out of whack, right? Hey, Rachel. Then you're going to have a little bit more of this like water retention. So there's just a couple of things. And one of the other main things that I see a lot of my clients struggle with, and a lot of women in general struggle with, particularly around perimenopausal age, and it will cause bloating. You're not going to like what I say because it's not rad. It's a weird word. I don't know where that comes from, but it's not like a weird, like hard thing. It's stress, guys. You're increasing cortisol levels because now, like I said earlier, you've got to take your kids here. You've got to be back for this. You've got to do this meeting. You've got to do blah, 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 blah. I don't know what that noise is, guys. Apologies. But now you've got all this extra stress. The stress causes a spike in insulin. And when your insulin increases, cortisol. Let me figure out what I'm doing here. I'm fucking this up. There. Okay. Let me start again. When you've got high cortisol, you're more likely to bloat and also hold on to belly fat. That's the other thing. So the reason I mentioned insulin then is so insulin pulls sugar out of your blood and cortisol puts sugar into your blood. And when the stores are too full, when your blood stores are too full of sugar, it's got nowhere to go. It goes into fat storage. So it goes into your belly typically. As you go through perimenopause and estrogen decreases, your body wants to create more estrogen, and fat can create estrogen. Not to the extent that we need, but it does. So the body tries to make up for it. So that's the other thing. So you've got to be really careful with what you eat, how much of it, and making sure that the dosage is for you, not Sally or Penny down the road who went through perimenopause and suffered. And the other thing, guys, is like if you are not yet perimenopause, you're like, oh, this is boring. I don't want to listen to Facebook or perimenopause anymore. Well, you don't have to. You can leave the page. But also, you could think, well, this is going to happen to me. Like it is, ladies. Unless you die before, it will happen to you, whether it is naturally or induced by surgery. It will happen. So you probably should prepare yourself for it. And also, your lifestyle that you build up now can help you have a less stressful experience when it does happen. Majority of menopausal symptoms can be offset or reduced by having a better lifestyle, having better health, all of the above. So there are just a few reasons why you might be struggling with bloating, not just through perimenopause, but also through life. Stress, highly processed foods, eating too quickly. Like they are the main things I would say. Of course, there's other things, right? You may have like some acid issues or whatever. Like there's going to be different reasons, but they are the three main ones that you can easily change. Like you don't need to see a doctor for those. You don't need to be tested for those. Just change it. Just work on one of those three things. If it doesn't work, keep doing that one thing, but also add in another one. So let's say you're like, do you know what, Faye? I'm going to take out my processed foods. Okay, great. Fantastic. You take out your processed foods for about 3 weeks. I'm not going to have processed food, and then on Saturday I have a pizza, and then I'm not going to have processed food, and then on Wednesday I have like chocolate or candy or potato chips, and then you've got to like cut it out. You've got to cut it out for a few weeks. Okay, so you cut it out for a few weeks, and you're still bloated. Okay, let's keep it out, but let's also now work on stress. Or maybe the food thing should be the last one, and maybe the first one should be slowing down your eating. Like that's the easiest one to work on. Slowing down your eating, de-stressing. That actually is one of the ones that everybody should work on anyway, because of the belly fat situation. And also health. It's not good to have like high cortisol levels. It's not good at all. And also, a lot of your immune system lives in the gut. I think it's something like 70%, 60 or 70% of your immune system lives in the gut. So if your gut is off, if it's not very happy, then guess what? You're going to be sick more often. Your metabolism is going to slow down. You're going to have low mood. You're going to feel stressed more easily. You're going to be more anxious, more brain fog. All of these issues are going to happen. So stress is like the most important one for you guys to be working on. And then I'd do the slow food and the stress, and then I would probably do the elimination later. But generally, that's another thing I read. It's probably because you're eating carbs at night. It's like, no, who fucking told you that? Like, it doesn't matter when you eat carbs. In fact, for a lot of perimenopausal women, and just generally, eating carbs later on in the evening, depending on the carb, right, and the person, will actually help you sleep better. And guess what? When you go through perimenopause, what's one of the issues? Not being able to sleep. So by telling someone they shouldn't be eating carbs before bed, that could actually be hurting their sleep, which then is another reason why you might be struggling with belly fat and bloating, because the increase in cortisol. So that's it, guys. I'm done. 15 minutes. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some food. Cam and I have got like a business meeting today to talk about a few things that we've got going on. We've got tonight, actually talking about perimenopause, voila. We are tonight in our busy women's group talking about alcohol and perimenopause. So we're going through that. And then we've got our client call later on. So we've got an announcement in the perimenopause and alcohol talk tonight. So if you're there, definitely be on time. 7 p.m. No, 6 p.m. UK time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we're going to announce something. We're going to talk about perimenopause, menopause, and alcohol, and weight loss. And then we've got the Zoom later. So that's it. Any questions? Give me a shout. Hope this was helpful. Try a few of those things, and I'll speak to you soon.